The IDF has formally approved Israeli plans for the conquest of Gaza, days after the government announced that it would be widening its military offensive. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, meanwhile, has been reiterating the suggestion, also enthusiastically floated by Donald Trump, that Palestinians should simply leave the territory. Netanyahu's plan to expand military control over Gaza, which could be launched in October, has heightened global outcry over the widespread devastation, displacement and hunger in the besieged enclave. Well, for more, let's cross live now to Noga Tarnopolsky. She's our correspondent on the ground in Jerusalem. Noga, the IDF have formally approved this plan, despite, concern among senior members of the Israeli military, as we've discussed previously. Have we learned anything new about what exactly this plan entails?
Good evening, Sharon. Amazingly, we really have not. We still are in deep fog of war. What we know, again, as you just said, is that the Israeli cabinet voted to take over the city of Gaza, not the entire enclave of Gaza, although the Prime Minister himself, in his public statements, has been very, very confusing about that. Sometimes talking about Israel having the intention to take over the entire enclave, sometimes saying Israel does not want to take over the entire enclave and will simply take over the city of Gaza. That remains unclear. And what we heard today, as you said, is that the army has, quote, approved plans for the expansion of the war in Gaza. We've gotten no details about it. We believe that these are probably just plans regarding the invasion and the occupation, at least temporarily, of the city of Gaza, but we received no details. We do know that the Chief of Staff of the Army opposes it. And we also know, as you just said, that no matter what, this is not a plan that can begin immediately. This is a plan that, in a best case scenario from the Israeli point of view, will take 2 months to put underway. Today we got a hint of just how difficult this might be for the Israeli government, because Prime Minister Netanyahu's minority government, he no longer has a majority in parliament, was unable to muster the votes needed to pass the legislation required for the Israeli army to issue new call-up notices for hundreds of thousands of reservists. So even that basic step, allowing the army to issue call-ups, for now has been postponed indefinitely until the government can get some sort of majority together.
Minister, earlier as well, talking about how people who are concerned about Palestinians should, as he said, open their gates and stop lecturing Israel. What exactly is his objective here? As you say, he seems to be changing his tone depending on who and when he's speaking at this stage.
That's right, and it really is difficult to know. It's sort of become the $24 million question in Israel. What does Netanyahu want? And one of the conclusions here tonight is that what Netanyahu wants is to keep us all guessing, to keep us all on tenterhooks, waiting to see what he'll decide, to keep us all in doubt about what our next step. In the state of Israel, no one knows whether school will start September 1, whether they'll be able to return to work or have to return to military service. The extent of the confusion here is really difficult to describe, and that may be the point. We had some hints today of what Netanyahu is confronting. The court determined that as of the fall session, as of the end of the summer recess, he will be obliged to testify 3 times a week in his corruption trial. No more wartime excuses. And we know that he is completely isolated diplomatically. There are even questions about the possibility of his traditional UN General Assembly speech next month. So it does appear right now that he is sort of scrambling, waiting to see how things develop, and intentionally not making any clear plans known.
Noga, we'll leave it there for now. Thanks so much for joining us with that. That is Noga Tarnopolsky, France 24 correspondent in Jerusalem.